Hey, you guys, it's Mike, and I've got somebody I'd like you to meet. Danielle, also known as the Slot Queen. And she and I had this great conversation the other night. We put it on tape. You're going to love her. Could you do me a favor? Could you just hit that subscribe button? That'd be real nice. And that little bell next to it. Here's Danielle. Enjoy.
Hey, you guys, I have got somebody you've got to meet. I've got Slot Queen. Hey, Danielle, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us on Everybody Play Now, our new little channel that's celebrating you guys. And just thanks. Thanks very much. So before we talk, I just got through watching, because I was trying to do a little homework, catching up and everything, and I watched the most incredible episode that you had playing Sir Mix-a-Lot's game with Sir Mix-a-Lot. And I loved it. It was ridiculous. Oh my God. And I mean, what a great moment to share with your players. I mean, and I love that game. I mean, that's the funny thing. I love that game. I know we're just talking about every games and things like that most of the time, but I love that game. It's a Blueberry game. They're doing a great job. I love that thing. And, he actually hosted a tournament at Snoqualmie some time back for us. And he's such a great guy. But you were the one who was making me laugh, because you were on the edge, like, he's going blue.
Yeah. He was going rogue, and I just had to rogue with him.
Fantastic episode. What fun that was, and what fun you are.
Thanks. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was I told my husband, I seen he was going to be at my local and, unveiling his new slot. And I said, I'm going to go up there and see if I can do a video with him, which is kind of details how my slot channel has been the entire time. Like, I'm just going to go do this. I did. And my husband's like, good luck with that,
really?
And so because it was a meet and greet. And
right.
So I went and I met quickly with Blueberry beforehand. They just happened to be standing there. And I said, hey, I have this YouTube channel. I'd love to play with Sir Mix-a-Lot. And they're like, yeah, let's see how he feels after the end of the meet and greet, because it could be exhausting or whatever.
Yeah.
And they said, hang around for about an hour, 2 hours. And I said, okay, no problem. And I'm thinking, like, this is not going to happen, I mean, I grew up listening to Sir Mix-a-Lot, so I just aged myself a little bit. And so towards the end, I kind of walked up and they said, well, he's wrapping up now. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden he said, hey, where's the YouTuber? And I'm like, right here.
Right here.
Let's do this, And it was like that. Like, he said, let's go. And I'm like, okay, let's do it.
and you like any good improv person, you went, let's go. And my gosh, it was fantastic. I loved it so much. So tell me about yourself. I mean, what was your life before you started a YouTube channel?
So I'm a mom and a wife. I have 3 sons.
Wow.
They're 16, 18, and 20. My career background is like in the financial industry. And then a couple years before we moved, so to speak, I went into the school district so I could have a time that matched up with my boys, summers off, stuff like that. But then we moved about 6.5 years ago down to where we're at now. And we moved from a very country setting to the city. And my boys were not acclimated to that. Yeah. And so we decided, okay, I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to acclimate them. I'm going to be here for them to like city life and stuff, And so after that first year, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go back to work. Yeah. And no one was ready for me to go back to work. It just worked for our family. My husband works really hard in the profession, like physical labor that he does. So he comes home exhausted. Yeah. And so, by me picking up my boys from school and doing snack and being present in the home while they do homework and helping them just worked for us. And so for the last 6.5 years, I've been a stay-at-home mom. Wow. A team mom of every sport they've ever played. Yes. But that's what I've been doing for the last 6.5 years.
Yeah, no, just having teenagers, man.
Oh, yeah.
Whoosh.
3 boys in 4 years.
Wow. That's amazing. So when did you become a slot fan?
Actually, I kind of shared with you a little bit. My story is a little bit different than everybody's. Like, we're all unique. I've actually played slots since I was 18. Yeah. Back then, I think that was the legal age on Native American reservations.
Right.
And we lived by a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I've always played slots.
Wow.
And it's always been throughout my years, which I think will define as we talk further why I'm a low roller. But I've always played slots, and it's always been my little hobby, my go-to, my getaway time.
Right.
So always played slots, but I only found slot channels on YouTube 3 years ago.
Wow. Well, in all these interviews, I am trying to figure out, what is different about this person, and what makes them special. And in one of the emails that you wrote prior to this interview, I really got something that you have a really deep connection on a very personal level with the people who are on your channel. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I can't. Just to give you a little bit of history about me, which I think will probably answer a lot of the questions you do have for me, is, up until 3 years, so I've always played slots.
Right.
And because I'm a mom and I've always slotted on a budget, I've always been a low roller because it was my away time.
Right.
So I could take maybe $50 or $100 to the casino, and I had a choice. I could be home in 15 minutes, or I could kind of low roll, have a good time, and be there a couple hours because it was my away from home time. Everybody has their little thing that they like to do. So that's what I've, always done. And about 3 years ago, I had a back injury. Pretty bad back injury. And the worst part was actually trying to sleep at night. Laying on my back was nearly impossible. Lots of pain. Yeah. And so my teenage boys who are very hip on technology, and I had an iPad, but I didn't, maybe Candy Crush or whatever, my boys said, "Mom, why don't you watch YouTube videos?" I'm like, "You what?"
Yeah.
And so they showed me, and there's only like so many cat or dog videos you go watch, right?
Right.
And so they came up to me a couple weeks later and they said, you're not watching your YouTube videos anymore, Mom. And I said, well, what do I do? And they said, well, what do you like? And I said, I like slots. Yeah. So I actually typed that into YouTube, and there it was.
Right.
There were slot channels. I was like, what is this? And, I started watching them at night when I'm laying next to my husband. So I'm in a lot of pain, but I'm trying not to wake him, so I had my little earbuds in, and I watched slot videos until I fell asleep as a distraction away from the pain, I guess, Yeah. And so that's how I found slot channels.
Right.
It was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And the story actually kind of goes from there, but I watched a lot of slot videos throughout this healing from this injury.
Right.
Because it was a really good distraction. And I totally understood the distraction part of it. When you're in a lot of pain, sometimes you just kind of need a distraction to take that away, and then you fall asleep and you're like, oh, I got a little bit of rest.
Yeah.
And so then I would say a little over 2 years ago, our oldest son, you have their college plans mapped out for them, and all of our dreams and everything we've worked very hard for.
Right.
And he graduated high school and took a little bit of a different path than maybe we had thought.
Right.
And, he's our oldest, so it was really hard on me.
Yeah.
So that first summer, he actually moved out.
Yeah.
Which was just rocked my world. Because we're a super close family of 5. My boys are my world. Yeah. So he moved out, and it was really, really hard on me. And so I was pretty emotional, kind of like crying a lot, and so my husband would come up to me, he'd say, babe, it's not good for the boys, the other 2 boys, that you're always so upset. And he would say, why don't you finish dinner, whatever, and take a little break and go to the casino, because he knew I could just, honestly, all my locals are about 40 minutes away, and I would some days I would cry the whole way there, and maybe even just relax at a machine and maybe cry the whole way home. But it was just more, I was learning how to be this mom with a son that had moved out, and it was an emotional time in my life. Yeah. And so through that process, it was about 3 or 4 months. It was over the summer when he had first moved out, and I would record the videos on my phone, just the bonuses, to show my husband later when I got home.
Right.
And so I think that's where I connect with a lot of people on slots being a good, healthy distraction, as well as, and you kind of mentioned how slot players are a little bit unsocial. And I agreed with you on that, but I think that there also comes like with the stigma and all sorts of things, behind that.
Yeah.
So, it's getting healthier now.
I think so. I think these channels are changing this. I do.
I agree completely. Yeah. And so my channel ended up coming. So after the end of about 4 months or so, I had all these videos on my phone, and we were sitting at the dinner table one night with my other two sons. And I was showing my husband actually it was a Brian Christopher video. And he said, "Have you ever thought about doing this?" And I said, "No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. I don't even know how to use YouTube."
Yeah.
But both of my teenage boys said, "Mom, no."
Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
Ah.
Because our mom, I was like the team mom. I started every program. I did every fundraiser. I'm like, anything to help them. And I'm really like a go-getter and all that. So they kind of knew, like, she might do this.
Yeah, she's going to do it. And it's going to go big. Yeah.
So as soon as they were like, "Mom, no, Mom," and I said, "Well, I could if I really wanted to, And they both were like, "Mom." And I was 41.
Yeah.
And I said, and then they said, "Mom, you're 41. You're too old to be a YouTuber." And I was like, yeah. And my husband and I uploaded a video. I really did not know YouTube very well and all of that. I uploaded a video and it just went from there.
Wow.
That's how my channel kind of started.
Well, and it's done pretty well. You've got quite a following. I see, one of the common denominators I see in these slot channels is that the connection to the players, and it's like spending time with a friend. And you are fun. You have fun. I watch you with Brian, and you guys have great chemistry. You act like brother and sister. It's so funny, and it's just and when I was watching you with Mix-a-Lot, you made him have fun. He did, because you are like, you bring the party. You do.
I do.
Yeah. You do. You really do. I get you. It's just like it's like you're kind of, you've got this great big smile. You're always on the edge of a laugh, and you're ready for anything. And that's what I saw in your videos. I was like, she really knows how to have fun, and that's why people are responding to her. They're enjoying spending time with her. That's great.
Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Well, I think you are, and I think I actually really like your challenge. Channel. You're from in Northern California, and so you play in Northern California and Reno mostly. Is that what I understand? Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you travel a lot? Do you go other places? Do you have live events, and can people do those?
Yeah. So another thing about us is because we've been raising boys, right? Yeah. We've been raising families since we were 22.
Yeah.
So as much as I love slots, I've never actually been to Las Vegas.
Really?
Yeah, never. I always.
Still?
Yeah. No.
I was going to go, wait a minute. Yeah.
No, I had never been to Las Vegas. It was kind of, all of our vacations were family trips.
Right.
Camping and Disneyland every once in a while, stuff like that. It always incorporated around raising our family.
Right, exactly.
And so Reno was only 2.5 hours, so that's where we've been, But that's actually how I met Brian. It was, I started my channel in November. We're coming up on 2 years.
Wow, yeah.
And another kind of, to touch on how significant these channels really can be, is I started my channel in November. And in January, my youngest son had a major hip surgery, massive.
Wow.
And it was down in Oakland, which is about an hour and 45 minutes from home. And so we had to stay 5 days in the hospital with him there. We couldn't, come back and forth. And so, during that 5 days on YouTube, Brian happened to be in Las Vegas.
Really?
And he was doing a lot of live streams. And so when my son was recovering in the hospital room, during his sleeping times or his down times, my husband and I are stuck in this little 8-foot, hospital room.
Yep.
And we watched Brian live stream the majority of the time. He was he had multiple nights in a row, and it got us through one of the harder times for us. It was very difficult to watch our son recovering from that surgery. Yeah. And it was such an amazing distraction for a couple hours a day while we were in the hospital watching, and so I had seen that he was going to be in Las Vegas in February, and he mentioned his birthday, which is actually my birthday. Yeah. So we have the same birthdays. Mm-hmm. And, So I super chatted him and was like, if I come to Vegas for the first time ever, will you do a video with me?
Yeah.
And he was like, sure.
Yeah.
And first ever trip to Vegas, my husband's like, you gotta go. And I was so nervous. I probably hadn't flown. My husband hadn't flown since 8th grade.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't flown in over one time in like 20 years.
Wow.
So we went to Vegas and we met up with Brian. And I also met up with Diana Ivani that same trip.
Yeah.
And that was our first ever trip to Las Vegas. But now I've been a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet. Well, yeah. No, it's funny. Every year, I know that folks, you guys, every year, every does this thing. Have you you play tournaments ever?
Rarely. Just kind of starting to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have this thing called Tournament, and they're usually banks of these games that are in casinos. And a couple years ago, I've been working on it. I've been doing this for about 16 years. Been working at this company, and it's been a great dad job. I tell you, I've loved it. It's been one of my favorite jobs ever. But we started this tournament system, and then my friend Linda actually put it on the road, and she turned it into this sort of like almost like the World Series of Poker, where they go around and they collect winners from all over the country, and then they battle it out on the floor. And this year, and so what it's turned into is called the Tournament of Champions $1 million event, and we give away make somebody a millionaire, which is given out over a period of time and everything. But we give away, so everybody's winning money. It's crazy. And we've always had these celebrity tournaments, which there are people like Robin Leach and Terry Fader, and there are people that were living in Las Vegas that were celebrities, and Carrot Top and everything. But this year we are having slot stars, and this was something that I really wanted to push this year, and you guys are going to be there. You're going to be there, and I'm so excited.
I am too.
So we're doing a slot tournament for charity, and the winner gets $5,000 for the charity of their choice. Second prize gets $3,000, third gets $2,000, and it's just going to be this ridiculous night. And what charity are you playing for?
We're playing for a local charity. It's actually called I'llBeAware.org, and they support people that are fighting breast cancer locally.
Wow.
Which is near and dear to our heart. We lost my husband's mom to cancer 3 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And she fought breast cancer twice.
Wow.
So
that's ridiculous. I know.
That's who we're playing for.
Well, that's so good. I'm so happy to have you there. We'll have Slot Queen. We'll have Brian Christopher, of course. We'll have Diana Ivani. We've got Slot Lady. We've got King Jason Slots, who we just got on. I'm so excited. I just met him. He's so cool. He's so nice. Yeah. My buddy Andrew Hunt and the Slot Cats, who I had an interview with a couple weeks ago. They're so great. And we are also going to have some print influencers from traditional influencers like Frank Legato from Global Gaming Business, Steve Burke from Indian Gaming Magazine, and one of our defending celebrity tournament champions, Fen Cross from Southern California Gaming Guide. Now these guys have done our tournaments in the past, and so they're going to bring their A game. But I know that this is going to be such an interesting group because like I said, I had dinner with Frank Legato not too long ago, and I was telling him about how I think slot channels are changing the way the players are experiencing, casinos. And it's interesting because I think you guys are probably driving traffic to casinos. You're introducing new people to casinos, and that's been one of the things that they've been trying to figure out from casinos. How do we get new players? How do we get millennials? How do we do this and everything? Well, I think that this is one of the things. You build bigger communities. People feel comfortable, going places. You can show somebody a casino they've never been to, and then they might just go there. So
definitely, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I have held quite a few meet and greets now up in Reno at San Manuel. And people come. It always blows my mind, And people come, and it's such a great, fun experience. And the one that we held up in Reno, the general manager of the casino that we were at came out, and he wanted to kind of watch. I mean, he kept telling Brian and I, this just boggles my mind,
Right.
And so he watched, and I think there was about 50 or 55 people came to meet us and just hang out with us, and what I explained to him, I said, it's so much fun that you have to remember that kind of win or lose, they had their memory of that casino is now really good
Yeah.
because they had a good time with us, whether they had a drink with us, we gambled with them, we laughed, we played. Brian and I are really goofy. Like we're always just the same, like on the camera, off of the camera, we're the exact same people all the time. So, you hang out with people for maybe an hour or two and you play some of their favorite games or your favorite slots and their experience of that casino, whether they maybe lost a little or won a little, was positive.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is helping to change the way people view slots and gambling and casinos, truly.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, you bring the party. So, and that's what I see on your channel. I really do. So hopefully you're going to go to G2E.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. And I'll be there the first day on the floor, and I would love to get to see you. I think I'm going to try to go to Brian's meet and greet the night before, a couple nights before. I'm going to try to do that. I'm so excited to meet all you guys. I'm so thrilled, and I hope you know that I am applauding from the sidelines. You guys are making that you're giving the people who make these games, an experience that we've never had before, because we get to see you guys have fun on our games. So it's great. So you guys go find Danielle's channel and subscribe. Okay, you gotta subscribe. That's it's this thing, and subscribe to our channel too, because I'm at the end of the year. My company's gonna say how many subscribers do you have, and I'm gonna be like So subscribe to our channel. Subscribe to Danielle's channel. I see you have a Patreon presence, and you're everywhere. Where else do you post?
Well, really just mostly on my videos go on YouTube. I do have a Patreon community that is really amazing.
Wow.
That's like a whole nother story in itself.
Yeah.
And then I have an Instagram. Now I know that there's like much more social media than that, but remember I'm a little bit tech challenged.
I'm kind of limping behind myself. So yeah.
Well, I post on Instagram, just fun stuff occasionally. And that's where I definitely find, so a couple months into it, I mean, what this is doing for my husband and I is this is a complete new adventure. Remember I told you we've been parents since we were 22.
Right.
And now our boys are 16, 18, and 20, one in college, a junior and a senior. And so we actually can go to Vegas for the weekend or go to San Manuel for the weekend. We actually can do a little bit of traveling and such. And so this is just such a new adventure for my husband and I that I think that's why I'm probably always like laughing or giggling or in a good mood is I really love what we're doing. This is really fun for us. We're taking something I've always enjoyed and having a great time with it. But when it really took a turn for me, when I really realized what a platform this really is, after a couple of months, emails start coming in or private messages and people start sharing their stories with you.
Right.
And, I get a lot of emails and private messages, just people sharing their stories of a lot of their own battles with like pain or illness or cancers, and some people say, I save your videos all week long and I take them with me to my 5-hour chemo session and I'm able just to, fade away for 5 hours. And just when I really realized, and I'm probably the emotional slot channel. That's when I really realized that, yes, I'm having a super great time and this is such an adventure for my husband and I, but this is a platform that I can use to instill a little bit of like joy or love or positivity in somebody's life for 10 or 15 minutes a day. Yeah. And there's enough like negativity in the world, and so somebody is watching this video and we kind of talked a little bit about, slot people being a little unsocial. And I feel like a lot of times there's reasons for that. Me, myself included, when I was gambling for a little while as a distraction, you know what I mean? Not unhealthy gambling, but using that as a way to kind of let my emotions out that weren't at home, And so if somebody is taking the time to watch my videos and they're getting to see the new slot and they can see how it plays, but if I can just spread a little bit of like positivity and joy and maybe make them laugh or smile for like 10 minutes that day and they're going through something rough, that's what my mission statement for my channel has really, that's kind of my passion, which is then rolled over into our Patreon community. And we have, it's like 200, I think we just crossed 265 Patreons of just people that slots are the common denominator of what bring us together.
Yeah.
But they're sharing their lives. And it's like, I have people from all over the world in there, and they've made, for example, I have 2 people from the UK.
Yeah.
And they've found each other and made a friendship, and they're going to meet up.
Wow.
And this is amazing.
That's great. That's great.
So, you know, and all of our all of our channels are different, and all of our communities are different, which is they should be.
Right.
And mine is definitely about bringing people together through our common interest of slots.
Yeah.
But it's, man, they're called my loyal royals, you know. But they have cheered me. They always say, "Oh, thank you for the fun." And I'm like, "You guys don't know what you've meant to our life.
Wow.
You can't imagine the smiles and the laughter. If I'm having any kind of a day, even if it's just from my 3 teenage boys, I could pop in my Patreon page, and within minutes, those guys have posted something that makes me laugh, and I feel better."
That's great. And I love that you told us the story of how you got into this and everything. And then and that's where the connection is. And I see it when you see people going through the same sort of like kind of stuff, challenges. You guys, this is Danielle. This is the Slot Queen. Thank you so much for taking this time to talk to us on Everybody Play Now and playing in our tournament. Thank you, and bringing such positivity to the slot community. We need it.
Last thing I have to tell you.
Oh, please.
And I didn't realize this actually until you and I got to talking. So because I'm essentially-ish a low roller, I've never had a hand pay. However, a couple of months before I started my channel, I actually had a back surgery, and I woke up not feeling very good. And my husband said, let's go to the casino for a couple hours. Yeah. So I was actually playing in every slot.
Oh.
Wild gems.
Oh.
At $9 a spin, which is not low rolling.
Yeah, nope.
And I hit my first ever hand pay and my largest ever hand pay on every slot. So I'm like, wow, this is so weird how this came all the way back around.
And I worked on that game.
That's an awesome game.
Oh, thanks.
$4,291.
All right.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, great.
I was beside myself.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for telling me that. That's really great. See, again, those are the sort of things we don't know. We assume, people are out there playing our games. I don't know. But thank you. That's great. You guys, Slot Queen, get on her channel. You got to see this. Anyway. So thank you again. All right.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Well, great. Thanks. And I'll see you in Las Vegas.
I can't wait to meet you.
Okay. See you later. Everybody play now.